African leaders are strongly against the war in Niger Republic. Western world are seriously pushing ECOWAS and Niger to war. Why will African countries continue to obey those that is destroying our continent? Where do we go from here? African leaders have to wake up from their slumber because this is dangerous to our continent. Why can't they smell the coffee and do the right thing and go for dialogue? Because Africa cannot continue being backward.
For them to protect America and the UK. And they are making the biggest mistake of their lives. Let Thursday come. Let ECOWAS move their own troops to decimate, to obliterate, and to destroy Niger. And they think other countries are going to just fold their own arms. They will not fold their arms. They are going to fight back. And they are underrating the war in the manner a camel underrates scorpion. Ask anybody who knows the desert very well. The smallest insect that gives camel the biggest headache in life is the scorpion. The moment a camel sees a scorpion, it runs like hell because the scorpion kills the camel in spite of the size. In this case, Niger is the scorpion, ECOWAS will be the camel. It will just be a matter of days and time.
Please do not buy into the anti-African agenda. Africans are hated everywhere. So Wetu cannot afford to hate Africans. Black people are hated everywhere. When you see a black person, see yourself. When you see a black person, say, my brother, my sister, let's work together to build the African continent so that it can compete with the United States of America, it can compete with Europe, it can compete with China. You hate Africans, but you don't hate the Chinese.
But killing each other is not a solution. Unfortunately, our brothers and sisters in the newest state in Africa, which is endowed with oil, are killing each other today.
Isn't it time that the African head of states or the ECOWAS head of states look into the reason why there are coup d'etats? What are the root causes of coup d'etats? Let them put their house in order first before they set up an anti-coup d'etat unit. Let them put their house in order. And I believe their house is not in order. This unit is set up to defend them and to protect them only, nobody else.
If only ECOWAS had become prisoners of history, they would have acted differently. A prisoner of history is that person who learns lessons from history. If only they recall what happened in Iraq, what happened in Bosnia-Herzegovina, what happened in Somalia, what happened in Libya, in Afghanistan, and the devastating effect of interference into the internal affairs of a country, they would have acted differently. Rather than being prisoners of history, they opted to become prisoners of geography, where they feel they can look at a map, dissect that map, and cherry pick. ECOWAS cherry picked and made Niger Republic a victim. Rather than looking at the other countries, there are 4 or 5 other countries that are under military rule now. When they took over their countries, ECOWAS was not in slumber. They were not sleeping. They were well alive and active. They looked away because there was no clear vested interest around to protect. But with Niger, America is visibly interested. With Niger, UK is an interested party. With Niger, they can spit fire for them to protect America and the UK. And they are making the biggest mistake of their lives. Let Thursday come. Let ECOWAS move their own troops to decimate, to obliterate, and to destroy Niger. And they think other countries are going to just fold their own arms. They will not fold their arms. They are going to fight back. And they are underrating the war in the manner a camel underrates scorpion. Ask anybody who knows the desert very well. The smallest insect that gives camel the biggest headache in life is the scorpion. The moment a camel sees a scorpion, it runs like hell because the scorpion kills the camel in spite of the size. In this case, Niger is the scorpion, ECOWAS will be the camel. It will just be a matter of days and time. In international politics, you don't cherry pick what you want to destroy. You don't cherry pick. They are cherry picking on Niger. And it is an unavoidable blunder. Here is a country, Nigeria, that has multitudinal, multidimensional, endless social, political, economic, and all other problems remaining unsolved, still counting. People are living in abject poverty. You don't even have money to pay arrears, no money for infrastructure, no money for this, no money, and you think you have money to lead a war because other countries in ECOWAS don't have the money. Nigeria will fund this war, and Nigeria doesn't have the capacity to fund this war.
Duly noted, Mr. Shehu. Of course, you stating that Nigeria doesn't have the capacity to fund this war. Speaking of Nigeria, one of the questions that we'd like to ask you is why the northern part of Nigeria, why northerners are vehemently against military operations in this Niger coup. Could you give us some insight on that?
It's not only the north. Get the demography very well. Go to the Niger Republic. Get the demography of Nigerians that are staying in Niger Republic. They are Hausas, Yorubas, Igbos, Fulanis, Kanuris, Birams, Ganawuris. Every tribe in Nigeria has a representation in Niger Republic. Therefore, don't look at it as a northern affair. It's not a northern affair. Maybe predominantly northerners are there, but there are so many other ethnic tribes of Nigerian extraction that are living in Niger, have been living in Niger, they have married there, they have invested there. Therefore, attacking Niger is not only attacking the north, it's attacking the entire Nigeria. Maybe that is another way of saying that maybe Tinubu dreamt in the spirit of Gideon Oka, who wanted to exercise the entire north out of Nigeria. Let him decimate the entire north. And let's see what he's going to get out. If he is not careful, he will lose more than ECOWAS. If he loses more than ECOWAS, he will lose Nigeria. There is no way you can go to a war in Nigeria involving more than 50 million people and you think you can just look away, you go and sleep, and you sip some tea and feel comfortable and order a military excursion into Niger. Let him go ahead and do that. We are waiting for him to do that.
Please do not buy into the anti-African agenda. Africans are hated everywhere. So Wetu cannot afford to hate Africans. Black people are hated everywhere. When you see a black person, see yourself. When you see a black person, say, my brother, my sister, let's work together to build the African continent so that it can compete with the United States of America, it can compete with Europe, it can compete with China. You hate Africans, but you don't hate the Chinese. You always say the Africans are taking your jobs. Stop being used on black violence. Stop being used on an anti-black agenda. Love yourself, and once you love yourself, you love another black person. Now an African who threatens me. African. Like it another Musadi waka, like it one Nigeria, Agnata Balilona Shem. Yala Lena Garale Babonama Nigeria Lea Chueso. Don't be scared. We are one thing that was divided by colonialists because they were threatened by the unity of Africans. Can you imagine there is an African currency? Baronal currency ya Africa. that currency is going to be more powerful than the dollar itself, because that currency will be backed by the minerals of Africa. Today, the pound of Britain is one of the strongest currencies. Why? Backed by gold. But when you go to Britain, there is no gold mine. But they've got the biggest gold reserves all over the world. Because they come take it here, they came and stole it here, and they've stored it there. And that's what makes them unique. There is no France. There is no France without Africa. The day Africa liberates itself from France, France will collapse as a country, because France, it is based on everything African. They don't have anything to offer to themselves. They keep on taking from Africa. So please, let's make sure that we plow the idea of African unity. We may not be there when Africa gets one president, but we'll be the ones who have planted that idea amongst our children and our...
Killing each other is not a solution. Unfortunately, our brothers and sisters in the newest state in Africa, which is endowed with oil, are killing each other today. There would be no one country that would be inhabited by one tribe. There is no such country. But if you say that you don't want a particular tribe, and you believe that you are going to heaven, you are not going to decide which tribe goes to heaven. Now, are you going to tell God that, oh, I don't want to go to heaven and be a neighbor to a Mandinka or a Jola or a Serere? Take me back to hell, because if you go to hell also you'll find them there. I think this world is big enough for us to accommodate each other. It is also small enough for all of us to live together as a closely knit one family of the human race. Violence would not take any country forward. The more we fight in Africa, the more backwards we become, the poorer we become, and the more we are exposed to external dictate. Even food aid now for conflict areas is being politicized. I think rather than spend those billions on arms to kill each other, let us spend those billions on agricultural machinery, agro-processing, where Africa is lagging behind, mining equipment, petroleum drilling equipment, and set up our own companies. Unfortunately, there is even less intra-African trade. And our trade with the outside world amounts to billions of dollars. But we trading even amongst ourselves is a problem. Why can't we, for the sake of our children, the sake of our continent, and for the dignity of black people all over the world, unite, reconcile, work together as a formidable continent, because we are the wealthiest continent on the face of the earth in terms of natural endowments. Unfortunately, in realistic economic terms, we are the poorest of the poor. Everybody is looking low upon us. Whereas our own natural resources are being used to fatten those people that hate us. The same natural resources, our own natural resources, are being used to kill our own people. Africa was a glorified continent, a dignified continent. And we can still regain our glory only if we work together as brothers and sisters.
I am very concerned about the happenings in Africa, especially West Africa. Yagut, of recent, I have seen the ECOWAS introducing the anti-coup d'etat unit. ñu ne pour coup d'etat dafa war a stop ku ko def they will form a big unit ñu ñëw attaque la. We are not in support of coup d'etat. Let me make that very clear. And I want them to hear this. We are not in support of coup d'etat. I was a member of the Pan-African Parliament and have advocated strongly for us to introduce a term limit to make sure that we do away with coup d'etats in Africa, especially in West Africa. So meaning, I am not in support of coup d'etat. But I have a concern. Before setting up a unit or anti-coup d'etat unit in ECOWAS, isn't it time that the African head of states or the ECOWAS head of states look into the reason why there are coup d'etats? What are the root causes of coup d'etats? Let them put their house in order first before they set up an anti-coup d'etat unit. Let them put their house in order. And I believe their house is not in order. This unit is set up to defend them and to protect them only, nobody else. What is more coup d'etat than your national constitution gives you 2-term limit, 5 years, 2 terms. After serving 10 years, you want to change the constitution for another term. Is that not a coup d'etat? Because you feel you have the powers to do that. The soldiers have the powers to coup d'etat. That is also another coup d'etat. And they are living with them there. They are there. In the name of civilian, putting on mufti clothes, calling yourself a Democrat, when you loot all the resources of your country, mislead people, torture them, imprison them, burn their businesses to us, and you call that a democracy? Or a civilian rule and an illegally elected government? The leaders must stop lying to their electorate first. They must stop the corruption. They must stop looting our resources. They must understand that they are not a better citizen than anybody. They are given a responsibility, a role to play to help develop the countries and make sure that there is peace and tranquility and respect the constitution of the country. But this is not happening. Example is this government. This government has lied to people in 2016 that they are going only for 3 years. Was that not a lie? Who asked them to tell people that we are going for 3 years? Were they forced to say that? They went around the whole country, lied to everyone. When the people started reminding them, this is what you promised us, they threw tear gas on them. And the president is bragging, yes, when I threw tear gas in them, they never came back. Does that not anger the citizens? You throw tear gas on your people. Some of them are wounded and you stand out there and bragging that I throw them a tear gas. They never come back. That alone can anger the citizens. You promised the people you will have a security sector reform. It's never happening. The civil service sector reform is never happening. The Janneh Commission was violated before the end of the commission. When you take all the assets of the former president, and now you are busy buying assets. Your days are coming. I thought they should have learned, or they could have learned from this. Unfortunately, they are not learning. So before you create a unit to go against any attempt of coup d'etat, put your house in order, stop lying to your electorate, stop lying to your citizens, stop looting the resources of your country, stop corruption in your country. And then you can talk about anti-coup d'etat. When Alpha Condé was killing his people in Guinea, after serving 10 years, he said it was not enough. I want to serve another term. During the process, so many Guineans were killed. And I did not hear any ECOWAS going there or condemning him. You know why? Because Guinea was too big for them, or Alpha was dancing to their tune. Because I think that was why the small Gambia was surrounded all sides by soldiers and guns in 2016. Because Gambia was small, or Gambia is a small country, and Jammeh was not dancing to their tune. After the presidential election in Guinea, more than 300 Guineans were butchered, killed. No ECOWAS condemned him. No African Union condemned him. Instead, they pick up their phones and say, Monsieur le Président, félicitations, congratulations. That is the fair game that is happening in Africa. They can condemn Mali. They can condemn Guinea. They are soldiers. But the one in Chad, who has been given a red carpet from the African Union, was never condemned, and he's a soldier too. He's a soldier. They can give him a red carpet to the African Union. But the other soldiers are condemned for their attempt, or for their act. Where is the fairness in ECOWAS or in the African Union? They are not representing us. I believe they are representing themselves. So we are calling them to remember that power belongs to the people. Alassane Ouattara knows how he came into power with Gbagbo. He knows. But he finished his 10-year term. He changed the constitution for another term. They are there with him. Nobody condemns him. They are not there to condemn him because he's dancing to their tune. So I'm calling on ECOWAS to do the right thing. We young Africans, we are here watching, and we fear nothing. I don't have to be a president to be a Gambian. I don't have to be a president to contribute my quota towards national development. But I'm a proud Gambian and a proud African.